Good evening, everyone. Today is Saturday. Well, it's Saturday night here in Australia. Finally, the weekend is here. I got plenty of sleep and I feel great. I hope everyone is in a light-hearted mood. This is part 2 of Tom Brady is too good. I love talking and hearing about how great Tom Brady is. So I apologize if these types of videos keep coming up. I just think Brady deserves more credit and public notice for what he does. He certainly already receives a lot of praise, but somehow I feel he cops more criticism and negativity than praise. It could be that I take the negative comments more personally because I'm such a big Brady fan, but I also think part of it may be that Tom wins so much, and people are fatigued with hearing how he's always winning. I actually spoke to a Saints fan here in Australia just before the Super Bowl. He said he didn't care who won as long as it wasn't Brady because he was sick of seeing Brady win. It's actually a compliment if you think about it to have people dislike you because you've won so much. I don't care though. Keep on winning, Tom. Us fans love you whether you win or lose in either case. Have a listen to how perfectly Emmitt Smith, Steve Lehman and Cris Carter talk about Brady's greatness.
For me, I'm going with Tom Brady as the GOAT. Because I think he's predestined to do great things, and he's proven to do it because he has 6 rings and he's playing in his 10th Super Bowl.
Michael, Emmitt called him God's gift to man the other day.
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did. God's gift to man.
Yeah, because you know what?
Emmitt.
We spend a lot of time analyzing everybody and critiquing everybody, but we never appreciate the talent that has been placed before us. And that's what I mean by God's gift to man, because God blessed him, touched him, anointed him, and said, you are going to do something special that no one else has ever done in the game before. And we're so busy trying to break it down, compare it to this, compare it to that. We're not appreciating God's gift to man. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Tampa Bay didn't win because Tom Brady led them throughout the entire course of the playoffs. Not saying that. They had to play good football. And they did. They were awesome in New Orleans. They were really darn good in Green Bay on the frozen tundra. And they were phenomenal yesterday against Kansas City. You know the game they didn't play all that well, though? It was the first one. Team that hadn't been in the playoffs for a long time. Bunch of guys who didn't have a lot, if any, playoff experience. They're playing a team with a losing record in an empty stadium in Washington. And you know who got them to the finish line in that game? Tom Brady. They won 31-23. It was tighter than any other game they played in the playoffs. But you know who wasn't fazed by any part of that? Brady. And that's the question, is when you get in that tough game, does that guy maybe win you that one game? So then you can regroup and you can keep playing. Or maybe you play a couple great games, but all of a sudden, like last year with the Titans, you run up against a really good team like the Chiefs. Things aren't clicking quite as well. Does Brady win you that game? Again, there's no way to know. But the mounting evidence is that Tom Brady wins. He wins everywhere he goes, and he wins at a high level. And later in his career, he's even better at it. So when you have a great team, when you have a bunch of really good pieces, and you're sitting one step away from what you think your ultimate dream is, and what the ultimate mission is, and you're trying to think, what's the one piece, or what are the couple pieces we could have that would get us over the top? And the option out there is the greatest player in the history of the league. I wanted the Titans to take that shot last year. And again, they did, and we're never going to know what that looked like. But when you watch yesterday, it just cemented the fact that Brady has an impact that goes beyond the numbers. It goes beyond the statistics. And ultimately, the only thing that matters when it comes to the numbers are the W's and the rings. And Brady just extended by 4 his record number of playoff victories this year and just added a ring for a 7th finger. That is a resume that is unparalleled.
I want to talk about Tom Brady and some of the other great quarterbacks because it's easy to compile good numbers if you have one guy to throw to. But the way you judge quarterbacks and talking to guys who have played with us in the high level, Carson, it's not when the number one guy, because everyone's pretty much accurate going to the number one. It's when they take away your number one and you have to go to 2 or 3 or 4, and you can still deliver with the same accuracy as if the coach gave you your first read. Because that's what I believe in Tom Brady and the other elite guys, that people on TV, they don't talk about that.
So many people have been coming here saying Eagles are this. You use the word solid to describe them. You're not the first one to just use the word solid, which I think is infused with a little bit of negativity because they're not championship quality. But you think that they're as good as the previous. You mentioned some pretty big names like Jerome Brown, Reggie White. Okay, all that said. Everybody has said that stuff about them. And then say, well, there's Tom Brady. Now, I know you think that I'm such a Michigan homer because my guys beat your Gators to kick off the season.
Okay.
See how I can't even bring it up. I'm sorry. I won't even look at you.
You can bring it up.
Because it didn't, but all that said, I mean, you don't think Brady's a great equalizer here?
Oh, I know he is. There's no doubt about it. And here's the beautiful thing about what I love about Tom Brady and the New England Patriots is you take 16 years of body of work like Tom Brady has produced, but you also have to look at the 8 Super Bowls that he has participated in.
It's incredible.
Which is also absolutely incredible. And one would think naturally not to bet against a Tom Brady kind of guy. And when you say that, you have to think about the best quarterback to have ever played the game is Tom Brady, in my opinion, without a doubt.
Even players like Troy Hill and JoJo Natson can't but respect Tom Brady and his game. Also, you have guys like Nick Wright, who consistently, and we all know this, he's consistently doubted Brady, can't deny how good Brady is. I do agree with Emmitt Smith praising the Patriots organization along with Brady's success, because I do think that Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, and the whole Pats organization did help Brady to develop and grow to be the best player that he can possibly be. Obviously, Brady was a big contributor in the success of the Patriots as well, no doubt about that. As a Brady fan, I will always believe that Brady was the biggest contributor to all the winning in New England. But Brady also went to the Pats at a very young age. I mean, he was there for 20 seasons. So I want to give credit to the whole Pats organization, including the New England community and the fans that are there, because they're amazing people there. They're so loyal and they're so good to Brady, even after he's left. So they all definitely helped to develop and to help him grow as a man and as a player that he is today.
I mean, he's definitely one of the greatest of all time to do it, that I've seen in my era.
There's also something, it's not just about the health and him keeping the playability. Something remarkable about Tom Brady at that age to still want it. He's got nothing left to accomplish. He's got $100 million, and he's the side money of his family.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's nothing left for him to do. It's a hard place to work. It's a cold place to work. And he still has that drive, which is all-time great stuff. It's unbelievable.
When I look at Brady and the Patriots and Belichick and Mr. Kraft, they have proven time and time again, Rich, this is what an excellent organization is supposed to look like. From a consistency standpoint and a systematic standpoint, they have produced 8 Super Bowl appearances in 16 years. That's the ability to have a short-term memory, but enjoy the moment, but yet get refocused and put all your energy towards the big prize, when that is creating something that has never been created before, and do things that others have never done before.
He's one of the GOATs. He's one of the greatest of all time. Grew up watching him, playing with him on the game, and now we finna go against him in the Super Bowl, so it kind of feels surreal.
I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about what makes Brady so good. I mean, Steve Lehman, and you hear what Steve Lehman talks about in a minute, about how accurate Steve Lehman really is in the points that he makes out about Brady being the commonality between the Pats and the Bucs winning. You know, Cris Carter also talks about Brady's love for the game and his continual drive to keep working. I certainly agree with all these points that Chris makes, because Brady's mental toughness was what initially drew me to NFL and to learn more about this man. When I first watched the Brady 6 documentary, I was so blown away about how many times this man got rejected. Even though he kept showing them on the field how good he was, this is during when he was in Michigan, and then later on being drafted as 199 in the 6th round, he kept willing his team to victory. Yet they kept rejecting him, they kept overlooking him. I honestly got really emotional watching it, because any human being with a heart can at least sympathize with a person. And even talking about this now, I'm starting to get emotional thinking about it. I mean, who's had more obstacles put in front of them in the NFL than Tom Brady? Brady isn't naturally fast. He's the first to admit that. So he's had to work hard to compensate for this on being faster in the pocket and having a much greater pocket presence. He's worked endlessly on his throwing mechanics to make sure that he gets it accurate, to not just throw the ball accurately and throw the ball far. And I truly believe that Brady is very athletic and gifted in his ability to throw the ball far, but he's worked really hard to make sure that it's accurate. And he's so attention to detail that he doesn't just want to throw it accurately, he wants to get the ball in such a way that when the receiver's getting that ball, that it's so easy for the receiver to have the ball and to catch the ball without any other mistakes that can affect the receiver in catching the ball or seeing the ball. I don't really know how to word that properly, but I hope you understand what my drift is and what my meaning is. So in the Brady 6 documentary, you hear Brady talk about him constantly working hard and making sure all his skills, everything that he's doing has to be perfect, because he had such little chances and he wanted to make sure that whatever chances he was given, he would maximize it so that he could impress the coaches. And still he wasn't favored by the coaches and still overlooked by the scouts at the draft. I mean, he's giving it everything and he's getting results. He's getting the job done, yet they still kept passing on him. It would be such a terrible pain to bear. Imagine that you've done all of that. You've worked so hard. You've been dismissed. You've been overlooked. And yet, through hard work, through sacrifice, through discipline, you still win. You still overcome all that. You still get results for them. But they overlook you. They keep dismissing you. How much pain, how much, internal psychological trauma must that be? Not just on yourself, but on your family, on his poor parents who saw that. Surely they would think, how on earth is this happening? How unfair must it be? But to have that mental fortitude to keep going and to keep working and to keep fighting, that's got to be something of true character and something to be admired. I'm so inspired every time I think about that. Like, how can you not root for someone like that? I'm definitely getting emotional when I'm saying this right now. So yeah, bring on the praise. Let's go, GOAT. Give him his flowers now. Give him his props, because the man deserves it.
This was a really good Tampa Bay team. A really good Tampa Bay team. One of the great teams, I think, in the playoffs by the time they actually got there and put it all together. But also remember that a lot of those guys were there last year when they went 7-9. So the common denominator in the outlier here, the thing that changed, is the fact that Brady came in, and I think he rallied them all together. But he did not do it alone at all. And that's one of the other amazing things about Brady. I mean, this Tampa Bay team was better than at least a couple of the New England teams that he won Super Bowls there with. But the amazing thing about Brady is he gets guys to believe they can play at a higher level than they normally do. And he uses every single type of guy in every single different situation. I mean, even yesterday, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin are the guys that are the guys in the passing game for Tampa Bay. Who were the big guys in the first half yesterday? It was Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown, two guys that actually have ties to Brady in New England, specifically Gronk. But they're who caught the 3 touchdowns in the first half. One, they're not in Tampa Bay if it's not for Brady. But two, Kansas City tried its best to take away Evans and to take away Godwin. So what does Brady do? He has a different game plan. And Tony just brought up some of the penalties that came into factor. Well, Kansas City is one of the most penalized teams in the league. Brady understood that. He understood how they played him the first time around, which was effective when Kansas City won in Tampa Bay. And he looked at his guys and said, look, we know what they do. We know what they're not good at. We need to attack them that way. And that's what they did.
Like, we're not supposed to be on TV talking about subjects and be like, I don't know. Well, in this one, as far as Tom Brady and what he's doing, it's because
it's unprecedented.
There's
nothing in history you can pull to and say he's doing what this guy did, because he is blazing new ground every game he plays as far as at that level at this age.
Right, but one thing that I'm not going to do is I'm not going to start with Tom Brady and his commitment to the game as far as taking care of his body. I know players that have played with Tom Brady, and they say it's just like having a coach on the field as far as the meetings. Tom Brady is running the meeting, installing parts of the offense, explaining the small little details of technique that typically even the quarterbacks don't get into. How many steps you're going to take, what's your head position, all these things. So his overall love for the game, that's the only way you can play a long time, especially unless you're a kicker, where you're not necessarily kicking or involved in all the mundane things with the team. When you are a quarterback, man, you are the central focus of an organization on and off the field. So his ability to still have fun playing the game. We heard from Andrew Luck yesterday. Andrew Luck said, no, I didn't think I wasn't going to play football again, but I didn't know if I was going to have fun playing football. So when you've accomplished as much as Tom Brady has and still get the joy to get up and to go to work, and on a Wednesday, be excited. Training camp number 19, 20, to be excited. Those things are impossible to do. But that combination and being in an environment where Bill Belichick will not let you rest. In that marriage, what other people might look at as chaotic is harmony and successful. And I believe that Tom's love of football has grown being around Bill and Bill's pursuit of perfection on a daily basis. And I think that they have really helped push and pull each other to where they are.
And when Chris says it's unprecedented, we can't pull anything from it, any examples. It's not just that he's playing at a high level at this late age. He just completed, or maybe is in the midst of, depending on what he does this year, the greatest stretch statistically of his career. The last 3 years are the best stats he's ever had. That's his age 38, 39, and 40 season. Over the last 3 years, he averages a 105 rating, 32 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, while averaging, as if you want to do the quarterback wins thing, over 12 wins per season. So, like, how can that be possible? My best answer is this. Tom Brady's 4.340 is his brain. And the one thing that does not deteriorate as an athlete with age, it actually gets sharper for some with age, is your mental acuity. What did he say to you, Chris? Why would I stop taking the test when I have all the answers? So when he's never been a guy who's beaten you with raw athleticism, he's never even been a guy who's beaten you because he has the greatest arm talent. He's been a guy that has learned the game as well as anyone we've seen and has developed on an upward curve as well as anyone we've seen. It almost makes sense that until his body betrays him to where he can't play, that the mental side of the game has gotten easier for him, not harder.
He was 18 years, which is a very, very long time. It's not quite the longest streak in NFL history, but it is remarkable. Tampa Bay had one winning season in the last dozen years. So it's not just that they hadn't won the Super Bowl, they hadn't even been really a relevant team in the postseason discussion. And in year one, he walks in and wins the whole thing. So I think your point is exactly right. To leave New England, which, by the way, I mean, not that he needed to worry about his legacy, but that's kind of a risky move as much as he'd won up there to go say, yeah, I'll just go be the Bucs QB now. because you have no idea how that's going to play out. And instead, he goes down there and wins the Super. It is an amazing story, Holly.
Let's go to number 3 on the list. Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice. The greatest receiver in Super Bowl history, 33 receptions, 589 yards, 8 touchdowns, had a game, 215 receiving yards, put on a show. He's a bad man. Okay, number 2 on the list. I switched it. Guess what? It's Joe Montana. Number 2. Excuse me, the Super Bowl rings, an undefeated record in the Super Bowl. Somebody was throwing Jerry Rice those passes. Somebody threw it to John Taylor for to win 1 Super Bowl against Cincinnati. Somebody noticed that the comedian, God rest his soul, John Candy, was in the stands, and during the huddle, he was joking around because he's Joe Cool. That's why Joe Montana set the standard. We'll go to number 1 on the list. Somebody eclipsed the standard. It's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to explain. 5 Super Bowl championships, 4 Super Bowl MVPs, 8 Super Bowl appearances. Look, I'm a native New Yorker. I'll be damned if I'm trying to give any love to somebody from Boston, Foxborough, or any place up north, even past Connecticut, Molly, but it doesn't matter because facts are facts. Tom Brady, say what you want. The brother's special. So that is my list. Stevens A-list, all-time Super Bowl performance. I don't think this can be refuted.
Bruce Arians is a great story, too. You're talking about a guy who has risked a lot in his life. You know, he's got the saying, it's really his mantra, that no risk it, no biscuit. Well, he's lived by that. This is a guy who was a bartender at one point during his career to supplement his coaching dream. He works his way up. He finally gets a chance to be an interim head coach in the NFL at age 60 because Chuck Pagano got cancer in Indianapolis. Difficult circumstances, obviously. He does a good job there, ultimately gets the job in Arizona, gets to an NFC championship game out there, and now he gets the job in Tampa Bay. He gets Tom Brady in his second year there, and he wins the Super Bowl title at age 68. Just a remarkable, remarkable story for Bruce Arians as well about sticking with it, and hopefully good things happen to good people.
I'm sorry, I may have ranted on a bit and gone a bit off topic. I just get a bit choked up whenever I reminisce or think about the Brady 6 documentary. I don't know why. It's just, you know, it's when you see things in the Olympics where you see an athlete trying really hard, they're doing the best they can. You know, you applaud it when they're coming in last, and you're applauding the whole thing because that's the whole spirit of the Olympics. That's the spirit. That's a human spirit of trying and going. Wow, I am still choked up, and just trying really hard. But what really gets me beyond that part, where I get so choked up, is when you see someone trying really hard and getting results, but they're not rewarded for their results. They're completely ignored. I mean, it makes you really emotional and really almost angry. And I'm not an angry person, but I just don't like unfair. Okay, I've got to stop before I get too emotional. Have a good weekend, everyone.